The first method I'm going to talk about is going direct. And I want to talk with you about it first because it will give you a better perspective on how to think about finding a job. As someone who has experience with living in China and the Chinese language, there are a lot of job options available to you. However, they're not necessarily advertised on job boards or in job postings. Think about how a new job is created for a minute. Someone in the company, a head of a department or an owner, they see a need for additional workers. First, they think about if there is currently anyone already in the company who can fill the role. Then they send out a company-wide email alerting all the employees of the position, telling them that they can get some money for referring a candidate. And finally, they think of all their friends and acquaintances they know who would be a good fit for who they are looking for. Finally, the very last thing they do is post the job on a job board or online. There doesn't need to be a job posting for there to be a job opening. Oftentimes, smaller companies will hire someone because the person can help the company grow in some way. Maybe it's help them save money or make more sales, get more customers, improve their product. Our goal is to show that you are someone who can help such a company to grow. In order to do this, you're going to need to connect with the right people. So companies want to hire you, but more importantly, the right company wants to hire you. And you also need to find the right person within the company. It's easier to find the right person in a company when the company is small. At the same time, most jobs are created by small and medium-sized companies, not large companies. Small and medium-sized companies are more likely to hire you using the method I'm going to show you. We're going to use LinkedIn to find this company and person. So the first thing you're going to need to do is go to linkedin.com, and you should already have an account now. For our example, we're going to assume that I'm a recent college graduate or soon to be college graduate. My major is business. I have had an internship doing business development, studied abroad in China, and speak, read, and write Chinese. Not fluently, but I know how to get around without too much trouble. My sweet spot is business development, being the middleman or woman between Chinese and international offices, partners, or suppliers. So what you're going to do is come here to the search bar, click enter. Now remember, we're looking for companies here, companies that are likely to hire us, not job postings, but companies. So click companies here. And for our purposes, we're going to look for companies that deal with China but are international. That's why LinkedIn is a good platform, because a lot of the companies you're searching for, if they have China in the name and the company's description uses English, it's likely that they're somewhat international. There used to be a way on LinkedIn that you could apply search filters to find a company of a particular size, but now that option is gone. They do have it in their sales and recruitment plans, I'm told. If you knew a website that allows you to do this, please let me know. For now, though, we're going to use Booleans, mainly AND, capital A-N-D. So what I'm going to search for in quotation is China and then I'm going to pick a state in the US. You can also use the name of your home country or your home province. But for our purposes, I'm just going to say Wisconsin. It's a state in the US. Okay, click search. Now, it pulls up all of the companies that have Wisconsin and China in the company description. So, like I mentioned before, we don't want any big companies because you probably won't it'll be very difficult to find the person within the company that deals with China. See this company, A.O. Smith Corporation, 10,000 plus employees. How many of those employees do you think know about their China operations? Probably not very many. So we want to look at smaller companies, because if smaller companies have a China operation, they're more likely to know about what's going on in China and be able to hopefully get you a job. So I'm just going to look at companies that are less than 500 employees. So let's take a look at this one, 51 to 200 employees. Scroll down here, it's got the About Us section. You can read about them, what they do. Okay. Scroll down a little bit. Here it mentions China. Our research has stood the test of time in a world dramatically transformed by the collapse of the Soviet Union and the rise of China. Okay, this company doesn't necessarily have anything to do with China, so it's not really applicable. So let's go back and find someone else. Let's check out this one. Different physical products like Pacific Cycle, Sporting Goods. It sounds like they probably make bicycles. And China being the factory of the world, there's a good chance that they do something with China. So be on the lookout for manufacturing companies and companies that make things. Okay. All right, global leader. Okay, their brands, Schwinn, popular bicycle brand. Okay, go down here. Here's what we're really interested in. Headquartered in Madison, Wisconsin, so there's Wisconsin. One of the top friendly cities in the nation, Pacific Cycle has locations in Illinois, California, Shanghai, China. Okay, so that's good. They have a location in China and in the US. So they're an international company. So now comes the part we need to make contact with the company. So click on their website. We want to find a contact email or a contact form. Usually they'll have like a contact us up here, but they don't. Sometimes at the bottom. Let's go down. Perfect. Contact us. Ideally, we want an email. Okay. But not a PR email. You could try this email, but I don't think it's a great choice. The best emails are either a person's name, like maybe it's the owner, not any person, not this PR person, but an owner. Like if it says, if the owner is Jim, and says jim@pacific-cycle.com, that's ideal. If not, if it says HR, that's pretty good too, or info, like info@pacificcycle.com, that would be perfect. But instead they have a contact form, which is fine. We can use that. Okay, so you're going to fill in your name up here, just like they ask for your email, subject. Okay, so I prepared a cover letter template for you. You should already have your own cover letter, but naturally you're going to have to adjust your cover letter based on the company. So we're going to use this template, and if you go down, I already have an example. Excuse me. We're going to use this template right here. Scroll down, and I already have something made up right here for Linda Beckworth. All right, so we'll copy the subject, and we don't know the person's name, so just say hi. I'd like to help you with your Chinese. And we don't, I guess they did say China has a location, okay? It could be a partner or it could be a supplier. It could be their factory. We don't really know. You can just leave it like this. I'd like to help you with the Chinese company partners / suppliers. Okay, and then copy this. Okay. So I'm going to say, since we don't know, we'll say to whom it may concern. I noticed, put the name of the company, not this made-up company, Pacific Cycle, while searching for US companies with a China presence on LinkedIn. I did an internship at, so you're going to put in whatever it is that your main experience is, and then tell them what it is. Design and manufacturing company, doing business development last year, and studied abroad in China for 4 months last year in Shanghai. Okay, I can speak, read, and write Chinese. My background is in business, so of course this is not going to be you exactly, but adjust it accordingly. I would like to help Pacific Cycle with business development and or China operations, or anything else you can think of that Pacific Cycle needs help with. You may check my LinkedIn profile here and then send a link to your profile. And this doesn't allow us to attach anything, so I'll just delete that. And then sincerely, your name. And that's it. Okay. And then you'll hit submit and it'll send them a message, and then wait and see if you hear back. Hopefully you'll hear back. The next thing we're going to do is send individual messages to decision makers at the company. So click on employees. It'll show you all of the different employees at their company. Okay, we want to look for someone who is a CEO, an owner, HR, head of a department, something like that. Okay. This might be good. Vice president, product. So their product is bikes, which are made in China, I'm assuming here. I don't know. But it's a vice president. And so it's got the product there. Vice president of product. He probably knows about China. So click connect. And add a note. And I've already prepared something here. Just say hi. They only allow 300 characters, so you have to keep it short. You can't tell them everything you want to. Say, hi David, I'd like to add you to my LinkedIn network to connect with you about helping Pacific Cycle with China-related work. And then you could also say, my background, yikes, is in Chinese and business. Okay. Nick. Okay, then you'll send the invitation. Then once he accepts, you'll get a notification. Let's copy this. You'll get a notification up here in your network, and it'll tell you that he's connected with you. And from that point, you can send him another email or following up, sending this same email that you just sent using the form on their website, but addressed specifically to him. Your goal is to build a relationship, and which will eventually, hopefully, turn into a job. Okay, so let's send another message to one more person. Okay, Senior Director, Human Resources. That's pretty good. Human Resources, in my mind, it's both good and bad. Good because they definitely know about jobs, but bad because they're working with a lot of other candidates, and your name could get lost with all the rest. But still, if there's a human resources, I definitely recommend sending them a message, especially when it says senior director. The more senior they are, the better, I think. So send an email. Oh, shoot. Okay, InMail you have to pay for. I believe it's $30 a month to get the LinkedIn plan. I think they also have a free plan, so you could do the free plan and then after a month opt out of it. Hopefully you won't, your job hunt won't last. At least the connecting part with employers won't last more than a month. If you're doing this, once every few days. The first time I tried this method, I did it once in one day. I sent to about 5 companies, and I heard back the next day. The second time I used it, I did it to 5 companies for 2 days in a row, 10 companies total, and it worked. I heard back the next day, and then a job opened up a few months later, and they asked me to interview. Anyway, so instead of clicking on send InMail, click on their name, and then come over here and go to connect. And then send the same message we just sent to David, but adjust it for Debbie. Okay, and that is how you use LinkedIn to connect with company. Let's do one more. That's weird. Okay, let's refresh. Okay, so we tried those guys. Just did them. We could try these guys, but let's keep going. Oyama Lights, could try them. Don't try them. They're very big. Unless if your background is in packaging, maybe you've done an internship as at a packaging company, then maybe give them a look, but it'll be hard to connect with them using this method with that many employees. Let's check out this smaller company, another sporting goods company. Okay. So read this. They're headquartered in Wisconsin and have an office in China. Beautiful. Let's check their website. Okay, their website is down, or I don't know, maybe they went out of business. It's not a good sign though. Let's go back. Okay, let's keep going. You could try some of these companies. You could try some companies in China, like this. It's got Chinese here. It's, maybe it's headquartered in China. Let's try this one. It's a little bit smaller, 11 to 50 employees. Information technology, it's different from manufacturing. So read about them. Let's take a second to do that. Okay, so they do development. Think of us as your one-stop shop for all your web, cloud, mobile application needs. So if you're a programmer, this might be a good target. Or maybe your background is in tech or IT. Okay, we have offices in Milwaukee and Shanghai. Good. Okay. All right. So let's go to their website. And connect. Here it says careers. Don't get distracted by that. Okay, another form. Oh, but here they have an email. This is better. So let's copy that. Put it into your email application, like Gmail. And then go back to here and send the same message that you just did for Pacific Cycle, but adjust it for them. You say in the subject, hi, to whom it may concern again, and then talk about yourself and tell them that you can help them. This time, attach your resume and then add your name. And this template is in the downloads section below the video. So last thing, let's come over here. Okay, it looks like there aren't any employees, but that's okay because we have this email, and I think you have a good chance of hearing from them. Now let's look at some examples from the past when I've used this method to contact different companies that work with China. So this is an email that I sent to a Minnesota company. I'd found that they had a presence in China on LinkedIn using the method I just showed you. And here I told them about myself. And then down here, I told them a little bit about my experience at that company. US project managers have a very important job to do, but can often have trouble communicating their ideas with the China team because of some language and cultural barriers. I'd be able to give you a hand in this area, making for smoother projects in less time. So if you know about the type of company and what they do, if you check on LinkedIn and see the employees and that they have project managers, for example, and then down here you come and say, if you are interested, would it be okay if I sent you more ideas on how I could help? But usually an email like this is enough to get them talking to you, and you don't even need to necessarily say how you can help in more detail. When I've used this, I believe I used this email once to get a job, and they just wrote back and said, hey, thanks for the email, we'd love to talk to you, basically. So here's the response from that email. Hi Nick, thanks for your interest, but at this time we do not need your services. I have 3 offices in China and all my employees speak fluent English. In fact, my China office manager has a master's in English and has been with me for over 10 years. I'll keep your info should I or someone else I know have a need for your services. Okay, so they said they'll keep the info, so that's nice. Here's another email I sent to the owner of a company, and he also had a blog about life in China, so I connected with him on that in the first paragraph. So if you have a personal connection with someone, definitely do it, but definitely also keep things short. That's one thing I haven't mentioned yet, but definitely keep your messages to people short. This is about as long as it should be. Okay, and then the rest of my email was similar to the last email. Then here's a response. Thanks for contacting me and for giving feedback on the blog. People who have not been there think it all sounds crazy. People that have been there think it's a normal week's work. Yeah, that's China. I will hold on to your resume at this time. I do not have any need, especially since my products are with a 10-degree temps. Okay, so feel free to check back from time to time. So that's good. In this case, I did eventually get a job, so I never checked back, not with his company, but another company. But you could send a send a response to this email thanking him for his reply, and then check back in a month and see how things are going with him. So in summary, you're not applying to any job here. You are instead making contact with an actual person in hopes of creating a real connection. You don't want to make contact with a machine or send your resume through the same channel that other people do. This will help you stand apart and make an actual connection with someone. Maybe the company has a job for you, maybe they don't. Maybe they'll make up a job for you. It doesn't matter which it is. If you're able to create a relationship with the right someone, you'll be able to get a job when a job becomes available. Okay, the simple act of sending a message will make a big impression, as very few people do this. I've done some recruiting in the past and been astounded by the number of applications where people did not even bother to write my name, even though it was on the page they were using to apply. This may not seem important, but when you are looking at dozens of applications and there's one that's made an attempt at personalization, it will stick out more than the rest. Make a good impression and keep your message short. You can also attach a resume. If they write back, you're in. They might not have a job yet, but it's a very good start. If they don't have a job yet, make sure you message them once per month to stay in touch. Potentially, like in one of the examples I showed you, they'll say, we have no use for your services at this time. In that case, they wrote back, but you're not exactly in. But in the second example, when he said keep in touch, that's perfect. That's what you want. Just keep in touch, and then eventually, hopefully, it'll lead to a job. So the goal is to get them to write back and tell you that they'd like to learn more. And this will probably be a phone call or maybe an in-person meeting. In my experience, the next step, if they do want to get to know you more and potentially have something for you, they'll ask you to give them a call. So repeat this method until you get a reply, and then continue to follow up with them, keep in touch, and hopefully eventually meet in person. So some variations on going direct. There is a website called rocketreach.co. So what RocketReach allows you to do is type in the name of a company and it will spit out the format of that company's email address. So for example, Google, maybe you don't know whether they use the format first name dot last name or first letter of first name, first letter of last name. For example, my email, if I worked at Google, maybe it's nick.lancheski@google.com, or maybe it's n.lancheski@google.com, or maybe they don't allow 10 characters, so maybe it's more or less something like that. Or maybe it's not even at google.com, maybe it's at googleco.com. I don't know. So what Rocket Reach allows you to do is when you type in the name of a company, it will spit out the format of their email address. And at that point, you can go on LinkedIn and, for example, if their name is Jeff Michaels, you can plug in Jeff Michaels according to the email format and then send them an email. This doesn't work all the time, but it's another route you can try using to get in touch with someone. Another thing you could try doing is using the LinkedIn job filters. On LinkedIn, when you're searching by jobs, to come up here and click on jobs, you can search by location, and you can put in the job title, the keyword, of course. But down here, you can search by industry, job function. So it's not searching for companies exactly, but you could use this function to help find job postings in those types of companies and then message those companies. So if you want to work in automotive, you could check automotive, but see there's no results. Wow, that's not good. Okay, I guess. Yeah, it's a little weird. You have to recheck. Okay, there's nothing in automotive. That's strange. You used to be able to do this when searching for companies, but now you can't, unfortunately. But I'm told in the sales and recruitment parts of the package that LinkedIn now offers, you can get some of that functionality. I'll put a link to those in the notes. You can also reach out to people interviewed in recent newspaper articles. If a company, they're just entering China and they interview someone at the company, maybe the CEO, look at that person's name and then send them an email using some of the methods I just showed you on LinkedIn and with Rocket Reach. You can cold call companies, so instead of emailing them, find their phone number on their website and call them and say that you tell them who you are and that you like to help their company. Last thing is informational interviews. In an informational interview, you are making contact with someone who works at a particular company and may know of some work at that company or doing something similar to what they do. So that's it for the Go Direct method. Your homework is to read the article on this page in the text below the video about why you should be contacting companies directly, regardless of whether there's a job posting. And the second part of your homework is to use the Go Direct method for 5 different companies. If you have any questions during the process, leave them in the comments.